Coach, it's been a rough couple of weeks. I mean, you had to play the top two teams in the very rugged Big South Conference, and that was a meat grinder of a 2 week schedule. Let's talk about that and how you came through it. Obviously, disappointed with a couple of L's in the win loss column, but still a very, very tough task.
Well, just like you said, Chris, the Big South in general is a tough cast to begin with. And then you go against the two top teams in the conference back to back. It was tough. I mean, we played as hard as we could, just didn't come out victorious. But, we didn't lose anybody as far as injuries go and things like that. We still got our guys intact. They still played hard. They played to the end. It was crazy in Monmouth, playing the last 2 quarters of 12 minutes. But when you don't have lights, you don't know what may happen. So that was the reason we had to do that. And Coach Callahan and I agreed on that, and it was a great situation. But it didn't turn out the way we wanted to. But, again, we got one more game, so we're just going to see how we fare at this one.
Well, I'm glad you started with that comment about the weather conditions there, because I was going to ask you about that, how the decision came about to play the fast-moving 12 quarters, and you explained that. So I have to ask you, how did you keep your guys engaged? Because you had halftime and then an hour lightning delay, so that it came out to be about 90 minutes of delay. And what do you do in the locker room during that period of time?
Well, the coaches are constantly going over stuff. You got offense coordinator, defense coordinator, meeting with different positions and trying to make sure we're good. And me keeping them updated on what's going on. The conference guys or the guys at Monmouth keeping me updated on what's happening, on where the lightning is. It's a 30-minute delay because of this just happened, a 30-minute delay because this just happened. So in constant communication with each other, trying to find out what's going on. Me being in constant communication with coaches, so they're talking to the players and, hey, guys, stay stretched out, and talking to the strength and conditioning go. So it's just a constant communication going on, just trying to figure out when we're going to be able to get back on the field.
Playing at the University of Miami and growing up in Tampa, I'm sure you've had lightning delays in the past, but I can't ever remember one being this deep in the season in the North. I mean, we're talking November in New Jersey. You don't see this kind of stuff.
Well, the great thing is, Chris, we haven't seen the regular weather like we had in the past. I mean, we're not getting like 30 degrees and 25 degrees and 15 degrees. So that's a good thing. But no, I never had a weather delay up north, to be totally honest with you. When I was younger, obviously as a kid growing up in Florida, especially during hurricane season and tornado season and whatever other season you want to talk about, it was one of those situations where it was constant rain delays and things like that. But since I've been up north, I really never had a rain delay, especially not a lightning delay,
sure,
unless it was practice.
Sure. Let's talk about the game itself. You guys got on the scoreboard first, marched right down the field.
Yeah, we started out great. I mean, it was a strategy to go out there and put the defense out there, see if we can get a 3-and-out situation. Because when you think about it, the games that we've won, we've been able to stop them on the first drive, and we've been able to score on the first drive. So that was my thinking when we won the coin toss and go ahead and deferred. And the defense went out there. The defense went 3-and-out. It was like, okay, we're on top. We're doing some good things. They punted it to us. Offense marched the ball right down the field, put it in the end zone. And it's just one of those things where the first play out of the gate when we came back, we had some misfits on defense. Defense didn't get underneath it. Linebacker went out to the pass. The post come back in the box. Linebacker didn't get over top. Safety took a bad angle. Next thing you know, block left. So they're going for a PAT field goal, and they've scored a touchdown. So we put ourselves in a bad position. Get out there and go 3-and-out on offense. So, and you can't do that against a team that's top in the conference. You just can't do that against a team like Monmouth, who's done outstanding since they've been in the conference. I mean, the crazy thing about it, Chris, and I look back at Monmouth's schedule because as we joined the Big South, I looked at the team that was probably the closest to us as far as jumping into the Big South, and it was Monmouth. They started out in the NEC. Later on, they started winning the NEC. And when they jumped into the Big South, their first year, I think they won 1 game or 2 games. The second year, they won 2 games. The next year, they won no games. And then they went 4-1. So I'm looking at that kind of map of what they've done and thinking about, okay, this team's pretty good. They've been here. So we're trying to do the same thing and put ourselves in that position and try to play like them. So that's one of the top teams in the conference. When you start out like that, you go 3-and-out, you score on them. You got to stay on top of them because they're going to figure it out. That's the great thing about Coach Callahan. He has a great coaching staff on there. They're going to figure it out eventually. And we just had poor tackling again on defense. We just couldn't execute the way we needed to execute on offense.
Yeah, they set a nice template. There's no doubt about that, Coach Clark. I'm just wondering what it was like to try to you mentioned the long run on their first score, but what was it like to try to play defense against a sophomore by the name of Tony Muskett? He is an outstanding quarterback.
He's unbelievable. And his freshman year is probably better than the South every year. What he does a great job of is getting rid of the ball. He has a very quick release, and he does a great job of going to the second progression, third progression, and getting the ball out of his hand. He doesn't take a lot of sacks, but when he does run, he can run the ball. So he's doing an outstanding job. The bad part is we got to face him for another 3 years. That's the bad part because he's got a COVID year. So, but he's an outstanding quarterback. He did a great job, and the running backs did a great job. 33, the one who scored that first touchdown, does a good job. But probably the biggest strong point that kind of get overlooked because the quarterback's so good, their defensive line is very good. They have a very good defensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, let's turn our attention to Campbell again. It doesn't get any easier. I mean, it's never easy in the Big South. You haven't had an easy game at all. And, obviously Campbell is another team that is very formidable, and they bring a great challenge. What concerns you most about Campbell coming into our stadium this coming weekend?
I think it's their defensive line also. They have an outstanding defensive line, and we got a few guys, still got some young guys starting on our offensive line because of some nicks and little injuries here. Nothing serious, but we've started like last year. Last week we had to start Luke at our center spot, who's a true freshman, because our one guy had a little hip problem. So hopefully he'll be back. But their defensive line is going to be the biggest threat that we have. They have an outstanding defensive line that plays hard. They have some very physical DBs that also play hard. And the running back is good. Running back is real good. The other thing is we're not sure what's going to happen with their starting quarterback. Early in the year, their starting quarterback played, and then he played against JMU, but he didn't play. So we're not 100% sure if he's going to be at the game or not, because if he's back, at one point he was player of the year in the conference. So he's also an outstanding player. So the quarterback's one we got to look out for.
What are you looking for out of your ball club, Bernard? I know that you go in with a general scheme of what you expect out of your kids each and every week, but the young men who are out there, some of them playing their last football game as collegians, and I'm sure you want them to go out in a blaze.
Well, the thing that we're looking for out of our guys, what I talk about every week, Chris, and make sure they have fun. We want to be physical, but we want to finish. And that's probably the most important thing is we want to make sure our guys are finished. We had a good day of practice yesterday. Hopefully it'll carry over to the day. Our guys understanding that we're trying to send our seniors out on a win. We want to make sure we send them out on a win, but we have to finish this game. Campbell's a team that's basically the same situation we're in. They're 3-7, we're 3-6. They're 2-4 in the conference, we're 2-4 in the conference. So they're coming up here fighting for the same thing we're fighting for. We got home field advantage. So let's see if we can make the best of that. But I want them to finish more than anything. I want them to go out there and finish and do what we're asking them to do, execute the way we're supposed to execute, and go from there.
I know it's going to be an emotional day for those seniors, many of whom are obviously playing in their last football game. But how emotional is it for you as the head coach to send some guys away, knowing that they're not going to play any football for you anymore? And, what goes through your mind when senior day comes around?
There are always those guys that are going to really jump out at you. You got George Martin, who came in. He's a fifth-year senior. George has done a great job for us, taking over the job and being where he needs to be at. And you got Super. You got those guys, those emotional guys who are going to make plays during the season, going to make plays during the year. Those are the guys that are going to really hurt. And you got Trevor Hickses, and I can go on and on because our senior class is good. And those are guys that when we first got here, they didn't know what to expect. In 2018, they didn't know whether to embrace us, not embrace us. They didn't know what to expect. And we've grown well together. That's probably the best way to do it. And seeing those guys out, it's going to be a tough time for us. I know the offensive line coach with Trevor Hicks and Dylan Young and those guys leaving is going to be tough because those guys, he's been coaching since he's got here. So it's going to be an emotional day for all of us, but we're looking forward to playing hard and finishing the football game.